right now.
Okay.
We're rolling.
All right. Have you been recording to cloud or local and then uploading to YouTube?
I initially uploaded to the cloud, but then, of course, we filled it. So I've been just doing it locally and then transferring it over to YouTube.
I think the quality's better when you do it locally anyway. Like I did it the other day and I got a 720p on the cloud. And I did it again and I got the same thing. But then I did a third recording and I got like crazy resolution, like 4K something, almost 4K. Of course, I didn't have it full screen because I had other things on the sides or whatever, but I got a really high quality recording. I don't know what changed, if they've been pushing quality improvements still like quietly in the background. Okay, we've got a couple minutes until we're going to officially start, so let's welcome everyone. Well, I know, but we're going to start playing the video and stuff before that.
Yeah.
Hi, Tank.
Tank?
Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm in the process of feeding my animals and getting them situated for the morning.
How's your toe, Nova?
You're still on mute.
Okay, sorry. A lot better. He had to drain blood underneath my toenail, and that relieved a lot of pain. So now it's just sore. It's not, I just walk carefully.
Isn't that a wonderful procedure? They make it sound so easy and clinical when they say it, but nothing quite prepares you for that.
Right, yeah. Well, I've broken both arms before, so compared to broken arms, this was nothing.
Okay.
So I had something to compare it to.
Fair enough.
But thank you for asking.
Well, if it were Shannon, I would say watch where you're walking.
Morning, everybody.
You can say that to me too. Yeah.
Okay, watch where you're walking.
That's right. Yeah.
Morning.
I blame it on the gum. I can't walk and chew gum.
Morning, everybody.
Good
Morning. How are you?
Good. Let's see. It's not. Is it 10?
Yep.
It's start to me, so I think we're going to start it right now.
We can start. All righty. I left my laptop cord somewhere, so I'm zooming on my phone. All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm Kimala.
Hey, Kimala.
And I will be the online worship leader today. Today's service is our opportunity to connect as a community during this time of social distancing and to commemorate the summer solstice. Common Ground is our celebration of worship for people of many paths who may gather in a building when we can or on a Zoom call when needed to share in the responsible search for meaning and truth. Pathways is a warm and open community where all who come with open minds and kind hearts are welcome, regardless of ability, age, race, gender identity, or sexual orientation. We hope that all who join us today find this a safe online place to worship. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. All right. Now we will take the service slides down for a moment so that you will have a gallery view of the attendees. Please stay muted, but smile and wave at each other for our virtual greeting. And I'm just scrolling to look at everybody's beautiful face. Okay, go ahead and take the PPT down. Maybe I'm not supposed to say that out loud. Sorry, y'all, this is my first time. I think we can go on to the next slide. Oh, my video. Well, y'all don't need my video, do you? Okay, So let's go to Better Days, Emma's Revolution. Oh my goodness. There we go. Okay, our opening song today is Better Days, written and sung by Emma's Revolution. Although you will remain muted while the song video plays, we encourage you to sing along and enjoy it to the fullest. You know I will. I can't hear it.
Yeah, Tim, you're muted.
I can't hear the song though. Oh, it just started. Okay. In the light with our hearts. We are here in the light, giving voice in the light to the truth. In the light we divide. Let us sing for today. Let us learn better ways, sharing love in the light, giving hope in the light we create, in the light better days. We are born in the dark, we are fed in the dark, we connect in the dark through the veil. We are held in the dark, we are healed in the dark, mysteries in the dark we reveal. Let us sing for today. Let us learn better ways, showing love in the dark, giving hope in the dark we create, in the dark better days. Time is now. We begin where we are. We begin, we have all. We begin what we need to renew. We begin to release. We begin to rebuild. We begin to believe. Let us sing for today. Let us learn better ways, showing love. We begin giving hope. We begin, we create. We begin better days. Let us sing for today. Let us learn better ways, showing love. We begin giving hope. We begin, we create. We begin better days, showing love. We begin giving hope. We begin, we create. We begin better days. I unmute. That was beautiful. What a great choice for right now. Okay, our chalice lighting words today are the words of Pema Chandran from Always Maintain a Joyful Mind. Constantly apply cheerfulness, if for no other reason than because you are on this spiritual. Okay, sorry, Tim. I went too fast. Oh, I'm still glowing from that song. Okay, let's try again. So, our virtual chalice lighting by Pema Chandran from Always Maintain a Joyful Mind. Next slide. I can't see it. There. Constantly apply cheerfulness, if for no other reason than because you are on this spiritual path. Okay. Have a sense of gratitude to everything, even difficult emotions. Because of their potential to wake you up. I invite you to join me in a renewal of our sacred promises. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other. Okay, our worship song today is Singing for Our Lives. Let's enjoy.
We are gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, are singing, singing for our lives. We are gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives.
All right. Our call to worship today is called The Heart of Our Faith by Monica Jacobson Tennyson. What is it that calls you here, that calls you onward, that calls you inward, that leads you homeward? What is it that gives you the power to make that change, to ask that question, to take that journey? What is it that says you have done well, that asks you to learn more, that brings you to stillness, that holds you up in hard times? It is relationship, the beating heart of our faith. It begins when we share this hour, our truths, this air, our hearts. Come, let us worship together. Today's speaker is Reverend Dr. Daniel Canter from First Unitarian Universalist Church of Dallas. His message is entitled, Have You Ever Eaten Stars?
Lovely music nourishes us today, and we hope these words also nourish the heart. Thomas Friedman in the New York Times on Sunday, May 31st, wrote this: "If recent weeks have shown us anything, it's that the world is not just flat, it's fragile. And we're the ones who made it that way with our own hands," he says. "Just look around. Over the past 20 years, we've been steadily removing man-made and natural buffers, redundancies, regulations, and norms that provide resilience and protection when big systems, be they ecological, geopolitical, or financial, get stressed. We've been recklessly removing these buffers out of an obsession with short-term efficiency and growth, or without thinking at all. At the same time, we've been behaving in extreme ways, pushing against and breaching common sense political, financial, and planetary boundaries." When I read Friedman's words, I was stunned into reading on and simultaneously trying not to lose faith in our world. Between keeping my grown children fed and writing sermons and attending Zoom meetings and doing strategy for the church, I'm trying not to lose faith in our world. Because I don't know about you, but it's running thin for me. As a faith leader, that puts me in a precarious position. I have to believe what I say to you today. I have to know something deep in my heart to speak today. And the world so topsy-turvy on top of the viral growth and the federal troops in our streets, it's all a bit much to digest. In Friedman's words, we've been steadily removing man-made and natural buffers, redundancies, and regulations and norms that provide resilience and protection when big systems get stressed. Reminds us that we are at the center of our problems, and the circular reminders and stress and feeling responsible and seeing few ways forward has me questioning my faith in us. Then a month ago, it rained a lot. one of those Texas downpours that lasted a few days. And as I walked around my neighborhood, I started noticing mushrooms in places I wasn't expecting them. Small, large, flat umbrellas, round, colorful ones. And I started asking myself, what is going on here unseen? I've done a little research on mycology, not only in honor of the poem today, but in honor of the world I noticed after that rainstorm, the world of mushrooms. I found out that mushrooms have been around for tens of millions of years, that mushrooms are essential for forest and grassland ecology, for climate control and atmospheric chemistry and water purification and biodiversity, that humans evolved in ecosystems dependent on mushrooms, that without mushrooms, there would be no humanity. And no matter how superior we feel to them, we are dependent upon the continual activity of these fungi. And above all, the relationship isn't reciprocal. It kind of puts us humans in our place, doesn't it? The learning continued. I learned that a handful of healthy soil might contain miles of fungi, invisible to the human eye. That the largest living organism on Earth today is a fungus in Oregon, just beneath the ground, covering 3.7 square miles and estimated to weigh up to 35,000 tons. I learned that fungus is all kinds of things, from athlete's foot to stem rust that afflicts wheat and is a major threat to global food security. And it also eats rocks and makes soil and digests pollutants and nourishes and kills plants and can survive in space, can induce visions, can produce food sources, can make medicine, can manipulate animal behavior, can influence the composition of the Earth's atmosphere. I learned that fungi have cleaned up diesel-contaminated soil, have broken down pesticide residues, have digested spilled crude oil, have consumed piles of house plastic waste. I learned that following the nuclear blast at Chernobyl, the industrious, resilient fungi were among the earliest living things to appear there. They grew on the reactor walls. They were attracted to the radioactive hot particles. They harnessed the radiation as a source of energy. Scholars say this is a holdover from their evolution as one of the only things to grow after the cataclysm of the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. I have had a mixed history with mushrooms and fungi. I've eaten tiny threads of mushrooms, and I've been on mushroom hunting expeditions, some successful and some failed. One with my brother a year ago on a rainy Catskill afternoon. We walked peacefully through the woods near his house, chatting and watching for sprouts of color. And then in a patch of clover, golden chanterelle mushrooms. Mushrooms for dinner like the ones in the poem, little stars. We dined on that soft, wild food and wine that night, one I will always remember. And another time I was with my friend John in a sweltering summer day in the Berkshire Mountains, the land of my father's ancestors. Hours went by as we walked through the land until one moment when I turned and heard John yell, "Chicken!" A shelf of chicken of the woods mushrooms, the joy of life pursued. That night we dined also on those wild, soft foods. What is this all about? The poem today is a poet walking us into a deep, damp woods, a privilege many may never have but in city parks or in our backyards. But through the poem, he takes us there. He slows down. He notices the life and death cycles of fallen trees and earth and sun and creeks. He looks at black earth and realizes it is dotted with golden chanterelle mushrooms, like stars, he says. He commands us, eat, swallow, absorb. Maybe instructions for mindful eating, but maybe for mindful living. Thich Nhat Hanh always says, it's not a miracle to walk on water, but to walk on the earth, to walk aware of your place in the infinite, I say, to be here. Eat, swallow, absorb. The poet points to this moment in his life when he walks in the silence like death, like walking with God in the Garden of Eden. In a way, he is saying to us, take pleasure in life, even when life feels off kilter or without joy. He's saying, be redeemed by something bigger than yourself. He's saying, be part of something unseen and take comfort in it. Life and death, awareness that allows us to grow into new things and new creatures. When a friend who loves this poem asked me what direction the sermon would go, I said this. I said, it's about the unseen, eternal process of decomposition no one sees and how it ties to being part of the chorus of life's majesties, to which he responded, sounds like my golf game some days. We laughed. And then we talked about what this poem is about. What is the poet pushing us to see in his poem, Have You Ever Eaten Stars? Maybe a simple reminder that we are rescued from disorder by the big reactor in the sky and destined to diffusion and part of a process that is way bigger than we are. That while mushrooms are everywhere and will outlive us by an eternity, they are a marvelous reminder of the unlikely fortune to be alive at this moment. Maybe we are learning again that a poet can write a poem years ago and talk about a walk that he took that can transport us to a place we may never see. And that in that experience is a miracle of life. Maybe we're learning that the transportation of us to that bench on the side of a mountain, to that damp forest, staring at a field of mushrooms we didn't eat, can ask us to stop, to look, to pay attention, to experience life, the life that we live that is around us. And maybe that in doing that, in hearing the poem and its demands, we might realize that we too can rejoice now. That we don't have to look at life in the rearview mirror for glory, that the holiest moments of life are here and now, and we are part of it. That we can respond to all kinds of things like my friend John did when he saw the chicken of the woods mushroom on that hot Berkshire summer day. The composer John Cage was not only an avant-garde musician, he was also an avid forager for mushrooms. He actually supplemented his income by selling mushrooms to upscale restaurants in Manhattan as a young man. He once persuaded the administrators of the New School in New York to allow him to teach a course on mycology along with his music. And he said of his foraging this, he said, often I go in the woods thinking after all these years I ought finally to be bored with fungi. Cage said, explaining the joy he had in finding mushrooms. He said, look, holding a mushroom he found in his hand. This is life. This is supreme good fortune. And that good fortune is that we are both alive. My question for you this week is a list of questions, in fact. How will you rejoice about part of the universe that you are in this week? How can you point another to the life that you see, the eternity of all life that exists around you, and share in their joy? And how can you be surprised by joy and thankful for the glory of this day, today, and this week? It seems a luxury to be asking these questions in the midst of all that we're going through. But people of faith have always reminded us that when things are difficult, when the country's on fire, the leaders spurring violence, the bigger disease we have is a dis-ease of each other and so on, that when all this is real, it has in so many ways also been real before. People of faith say, keep up hope. Keep faith in each other and in the world. And we have sung hymns like this, the hymn we're about to sing, A Life That Maketh All Things New, before. I remember singing it in dire times in the church after wars broke out or after terrorist acts. And the lyrics go like this: the freer step, the fuller breath, the wide horizon's grander view, the sense of life that knows no death, the life that maketh all things new. Friends, we sing this because even in the face of death and suffering, even as we struggle in our lonely lives to make sense of all that's going on, and the frame of the world bends under our short-term efficiencies and malice, we know that life is made new and hope restored in small and unseen ways, in forest soils, in the forces that work on each of us, in our hearts and in our loves. Friends, the question today is, have you ever eaten stars? Which means, have you ever been surprised by the joy of life's eternal nature? Have you ever been pushed to see the unseen and in your surprise jump with joy? And in the face of great challenges, pain, loneliness, despair about the world, loss of faith, kept the faith and the hope alive anyway? I have. And I know you can go there with me today, this week. Have you ever eaten stars? The poet takes us on a walk in the woods. He gives us a meal, and then he reminds us that beyond the food that nourishes our bodies, the real food that we need is the food of the Spirit that sustains us. Let the heart rejoice are the last words of the poem. What other need now is possible to you but that of seeing life as glory? That is the spiritual food of the day, today and for all days. Lovely, lovely.
You're still muted, Camille.
All right, let me try again. Thank you so much, Reverend Canter. We hope that each of you on your individual path through the joys and questions of life found some common ground with your virtual travelers today. Now, as we extinguish our virtual chalice flames, let us join in these words written by Philip Randall Giles. Now may our wisdom show itself in compassion and understanding, and may the fruits of the Spirit be apparent in our lives. Does he see himself? Does he see the fish? Or does he see a rainbow in a gentle stream? And now our closing song, How Can I Keep From Singing by Brother Sun.
Song of mother's lamentation. I hear that real though far off hymn that is the new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear that music ringing. It sounds and echoes soul. How can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest drown me, Lord, I hear the truth in living. Songs in the night it given. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear that music ringing. It sounds and echoes in my soul. How can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble, sick with fear, and hear their death knells ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? In prison cells and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shame are defiled, how can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing? My life flows on an endless song. My life flows on in endless song of birds' lamentation. I hear that real though far off hymn that is the new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear that music ringing. It sounds and echoes in my soul. How can I keep from singing? It sounds and echoes in my soul. How can I keep from singing? How can I keep from singing?
Tap to speak. Okay. All righty. Our benediction today is More Than Words, written by Reverend Robert F. Kaufman. We have come together to share our deepest concerns, speaking and singing words of hope and inspiration. We have committed ourselves to do what we can to ease the burdens of those who suffer, to stand for decency and compassion. We have pledged to work for a more wholesome environment for us and for all the generations that will follow. But these are just words. The hymns we sing are just songs. all our reflections are just idle thoughts. When we convert them all into loving and responsible action throughout the week, then and only then will this morning become what we want it to be, a time of worship. Blessed be, and go in peace. That photograph is beautiful. Okay, I think before I tell you to unmute, our small groups, Soul Matters, On My Path, Harried Reasoners, will be starting at 11:30. If you're not attending any of those groups, feel free to stay for conversation time. So, unmute your mics and let the discussions begin.
Okay, I wanted to do one thing before everybody started saying anything, just kind of a public service announcement. At some point soon, I'm going to try to prep a set of instructions for kind of best practices for Zooming, because we're going to be Zooming for a while, obviously.
Yep.
And I don't want to name any names or shame any shames or anything like that, but we had some annotations added to this presentation.
No, that is Kuzak. That's Alec.
Happens, and it's not a big deal that it happened, but it does affect
That's
everyone
Alec.
who's in the session. So try to be mindful of the things that you do, because everyone is seeing this, and then the people who are receiving it or watching the recording later also see that as well. So that's going to be recorded for all time, those nice blue lines. So it's probably an accident, but I'm just giving you a heads up. And I disable annotations now, but I did it a little too late, and I couldn't figure out how to stop it without affecting the audio, so I quit trying. That's all.
Thanks for your help, Tim.
That sounds like a great idea.
Thank you, Tim.
Sure.
Right there on the screen, Tim.
All right.
There we go. There we go.
Okay. Well, I found that very reviving. I don't know about y'all, but thank you, Alec, for putting that together.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kimala, for running the show.
Yeah.
That was a great
speaker.
It was a very good speaker. It's unexpectedly good.
I needed that this morning. I've been feeling a little anxious.
I was just going to say that. His talk and all the songs and all the readings, everything really spoke to me this morning, and I feel my hope renewed.
Yes, mine too. Yeah. And we need that right now.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, we do.
I used to have my dad had 80 acres, my cousin 40, and me 8.5, all in the southeast corner of Kansas. So I'd go out with a bucket from my sister's horse barn and gather mushrooms. And I had all the books, and I'd bring them back to my house. I'd lay the caps across a piece of white and black adjacent construction paper, because the spores that drop overnight are of different colors. And if they're black or dark, you won't see them on the black one, but if they're light or white, you won't see them unless you have a black construction paper. And the shape of the mushrooms is only one way you tell what you're about to eat. The color of the spores is very, very important to identify the mushrooms. So I could really relate to this morning's talk, because I used to do that. I had all the books and used to gather and eat certain mushrooms. And so it was really took me back to 40, 50 years ago.
We haven't had mushrooms in a while. Our plan is to buy some tomorrow.
The funny thing about that is you see that cycle out of fashion, but now it's cycling back in again. You see the idea of bespoke things and people that are younger in persuasion being more interested in the quality of something than the quantity of something. So that's coming back into vogue again. It's very interesting. It's another cycle that you don't really necessarily see unless you live long enough to see it come and go.
Does that mean that truffle oil is back in style, guys?
Yep.
Mhm.
Straight up.
I think
What'd she
it
say?
takes a great deal of confidence in oneself to eat foraged mushrooms.
Me too.
My experience was with an elder hostel a few years ago, and some of us picked the mushrooms, and one gentleman picked the mushrooms, and they ate them, but he was mistaken. Either he didn't look at the seeds or something. He made a mistake in his estimation of what type of mushroom it was, and it made him quite ill.
Yeah.
So my takeaway was you need to know what you're doing and be confident in what you're doing before you decide you'll eat harvested.
We buy them at the grocery store.
Yeah. That's the way we buy them. We have every once in a while when it rains, we'll have some mushrooms that are growing in the yard, but we just leave them alone.
We don't
We're not
eat 'em.
gonna eat them. We don't know whether they're good or not. So,
Remember
But if
that
you
part?
know, you might as well go ahead and eat them, you know.
Oh, no.
the ones in the front yard.
Well, whatever you know about. I don't
Yeah, if you know they're good.
know anything
about
know.
mushrooms.
Do it.
So I would have to be an expert on it before I would go and pick mushrooms to eat. And I'm probably at 78. That's probably not going to happen.
Well, you could be an expert at picking the right ones out of the grocery store. How about that?
That's it. Yeah, that's where we live.
My daughter went to Russia for a semester years ago, right after all the glamour and all this bad stuff that happened, and the good stuff was going on in Russia. She went over there for a semester, and that was quite the weekend outing for many Russian folks, would be to go to the woods and pick mushrooms. They did it every weekend. She was stunned because it just simply wasn't done here. Not in all locations anyway.
I think that may be common in a lot of Europe. In the 80s, I went to Poland with a friend who was from Poland. And one of the things we did was went to the countryside where his family had a little house. And we went and picked, I think, the chanterelle mushrooms too. Yeah. And we ate them, and I'm still here.
Yeah. But you do have to know they obviously knew what they were doing.
Right.
That's the thing. You got to know what you're doing when you're eating anything that you pick up outside. They're plants that are deadly for dogs. So you got to know what you're doing before you just bring something in the house to eat it. Or that's my plan.
Now my puppy will eat almost anything.
Yeah.
Maybe their passion.
Where an old oak tree has died, you will see these little fine dark colored mushrooms, and they're called inky caps is their common name. Acacius is their species. And here's an interesting thing about them. First of all, they're not poisonous. I've eaten them. But the colonists in the early American days used them to make the dark ink that they would use with their quill pens to write. And the inky cap name, they tend to turn into a sodden mass. They auto-digest pretty fast, so you got to get them when they're really fresh if you're going to eat them. But that's where they get their ink. So they have many uses.
Well, it's amazing to me. We've always I love mushrooms cooked and put in salads and stuff. I just never knew how important they were to our existence. So this was a really good talk this morning.
I agree.
Gives me a whole new appreciation for God's world.
Two of my experiences with mushrooms and fungus are from the Four Corners, Mesa Verde, Colorado Plateau deserts, high deserts, and they're with cryptobiotic soil that is a crusty soil that shelters fungus and cyanobacteria underneath, that is totally, most of them are thousands of years old, and they're totally destroyed if you even step on them. The other one is with lichen, which exists all over the world and is edible, but most people don't eat it. But lichen is a very important life form in the desert west.
Sequesters carbon, among other things.
I'm really curious what Mary is showing us a picture of. Is this over breakfast? It doesn't look like you.
Where else?
Who?
Talking to Mary and Martha, Stan.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a study in art.
Yeah, it's a lovely.
It's called Salt
picture
Shaker
day.
and Jude.
Oh, we've got it done.
There we go.
There's those beautiful
It's our dining room table.
I thought dinner. Are you suggesting we have a circle dinner?
We've been having a couple of people over, and they have to wear masks, and we sit 6 feet apart. But at least we're having some human interaction.
It's our family members and
Plus, we're
friends.
going to Costco tomorrow. I mean,
Yeah.
that's our trip
Road
for the
trip.
week.
Yeah.
That's our road trip. Our kids don't want us to go. They're girls. The girls don't. They think it's too dangerous. But we go with our gloves and our mask on, and I trust Costco to take care of business. So, yeah, and we'll change our clothes and everything when we get home, and throw our gloves away.
Wash them.
I was thinking.
Gloves we throw away. Those plastic.
I was thinking that might be fun sometime to have an open mic poetry coffee house Zoom.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Kind of like the old coffee houses from the 1960s with their open mics.
Yeah.
I think that's a lovely idea.
I second
I
that
can hear you
motion.
snapping, Lorelei, when you're doing that. I can, even though your audio is not working, I can still hear you doing it.
I'd like to formally submit a motion that we do that. Anyone second the motion?
I
I second that one.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
I make a motion. I make a motion that we vote for Eric to organize it.
Oh, I like that.
Who's second?
No
that
good
one.
deed goes unpunished.
Okay.
Huh, Kimmel?
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
I believe
As
that's
I learned a long time ago, every time I volunteer, it just feels like I was usurped.
Oh, you've just been waiting for a chance to use the word usurp.
So Richard, let's do that. Let's make it happen.
You get voluntold.
Hey, is anyone from New England here?
No.
So we're talking about mushrooms. I have a friend from New Hampshire who came to visit sometime during the year, and his wife live in the woods, and they're kind of into this naturopathic stuff. And he and his wife picked fungus from trees called chaga, CHAGA. Has anyone heard of that?
No.
So after he came to visit, he sent me some, but I was really wary about trying it because it's just this dried out stuff. But you make a tea out of it, and it's supposed to be good for your immune system. This is what it looks like. So I dug it out of the closet while we were talking about mushrooms.
Well, it says right here on Google, organic chaga mushroom powder supplement for brain health, 100%.
So maybe he was trying to insinuate I needed better brain health.
Can't we all use a little bit of brain health right now?
We all could.
So after this talk today, now I think I'm going to grind it up. And he sent me very elaborate instructions. So if you don't see me next week, you know, get the wrong mushrooms.
Check the local hospitals. Got it.
Nancy is trying to say something. Let Nancy speak. She's been trying to say something. There, go.
We'll know you're on a trip.
Go ahead.
Hey, let Nancy speak. Nancy, go ahead. Nancy.
Go. Oh, we lost her.
Get off.
Well, her mute is on.
I think she
That's
got
why
mad.
That's why she wasn't able to inject herself.
Oh, well. Anyway, that's my mushroom story. I've been seeing mushrooms.
She was trying to
They're kinda
respond to
scary
you,
looking.
Tammy.
You know, the
She was
great
trying
thing
to
about
respond to
going
you.
going to Central Market, they have a lot of that stuff there. At Central Market, they have a lot of a variety of all kinds of different stuff. It's just, you know, shopping right now, it's not that easy. Central Market would probably be okay. Yeah.
Hey, Nancy, unmute yourself and you can say what you were going to say. Nancy.
I'd really like to hear it.
Me too.
I was just going to tell Tammy that we'd had experience with chaga. Josiah, my son, ordered it off the internet, and it looked just like that. And we've done extracts and taken it, and I mean, it's not a culinary mushroom. It's it's supports the immune system. So I'm very trustful. There are not other things that look like chaga that are toxic.
Right.
So just if you want to talk to me about my experience with it, just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about it later. I mean, I feel it was a gift, but I've been just very hesitant to. It also seems very elaborate, the preparation.
It's a little bit of trouble, yeah.
Thank you, Nancy.
Sure.
Well, how nice to have someone in our group that knows about chaga.
Yeah.
Yes, I've never heard of it, and I mean, my friend just walks in the woods. They see it on the trees, and they grab it and dry it out.
I think the neat thing about the group is that if you throw out something, there's almost always someone who knows about it.
We are a bit widely
we're kind of a bunch of
distributed
know-it-alls.
skill sets, huh?
Yes, we are.
I was on my phone before. Now I'm on my computer, so I can see who all is here. You know, on the phone, you just get to see a couple faces at a time.
Yeah, you don't got enough screen real estate or horsepower to really show a lot of video feeds simultaneously.
I know, but I could do my laundry and walk around on my phone. I can't do that with my computer.
Well, they're trade-offs, right?
That's right. I was multitasking.
You're probably not the only one.
I know. Yeah, when you see my blank screen, it means I'm doing something.
My blank screen sometimes just means I'm scratching my nose.
Yeah, or eating. I know. Sometimes I'm shoveling food in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was following something that I'd seen before earlier. I had breakfast during the service, so I didn't think anybody wanted to see me eating.
I do that sometimes.
Or hear my crunch.
Actually, Ruby, you've got a future in the YouTubers out there that do the audio stuff. They really like watching people crunch chips and stuff like that. There's a whole subgenre.
Really?
What is it called?
ASMR. Yeah, ASMR.
Yeah. That's a big thing. That's
People
a
are really
multi-million
getting
dollar
bored
industry.
these days, aren't they?
Yeah, so if you want a second career, you could jump right in there and get you some potato chips.
Yeah.
Start a quick stream.
I think it's hilarious what the young people like to watch.
I think that's the best thing for our Zoom meetings is that we can eat.
Yeah, during our Zoom meetings, yeah.
I was just thinking about getting a snack, so I might
right?
lock my video out in a minute.
And eat something.
Yeah.
I agree. We don't have to wear shoes.
No, or pants.
Yeah.
I want to.
I'm not going to tell you that I still have on my bedclothes. So.
Okay.
It's all the same nowadays, huh?
Yeah, that's true. They are the one outfit.
Yeah.
But we're gonna
actually
stop
wearing
recording
pants.
for the rest of the session. I think we're sitting at 11.